Could the San Francisco 49ers trade away Brandon Aiyuk to the Buffalo Bills after the Bills traded Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans? We're going to talk about that here on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and I know some people are going to get triggered by this conversation, but it's a worthy conversation to have because Buffalo now and their wide receiver supporting cast around Josh Allen is extremely light. They have the 28th overall pick. They could become a suitor for Brandon Aiyuk if the Niners do not want to pay Aiyuk a contract extension that him and his camp are seeking, and they want a first-round pick back in return. Here are the trade details for the Stefon Diggs trade. Buffalo, Houston, making that blockbuster move here in the midst of NFL free agency, and you had a feeling that at some point a big deal was going to happen in the lead up to the draft. This is one of those moves that has taken place up to this point. The Texans receiving Stefon Diggs, 2025 fifth-round pick, and a 2024 sixth-round pick. The Bills are only getting a second-round pick back. And for Houston, they're giving up that second-round selection by way of the Minnesota Vikings. My overall thoughts on this trade, the Houston Texans and DeMeco Ryans, ladies and gentlemen, are loading up. They are going all in while C.J. Stroud is on his rookie deal. It is a very smart team-building strategy. This is what a lot of teams have done, trying to capitalize on that young quarterback being on that rookie deal where you're not giving him a lot of money as compared to some of the highest-paid quarterbacks across the National Football League. So that frees up a lot of dollars for teams to spend to bulk up their rosters. The Texans right now are coming for the Chiefs. They are loaded offensively. They are loaded defensively. Really like DeMeco Ryans, former Niners defensive coordinator, and their offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, who used to be the pass game coordinator for San Francisco. They are set up very nicely where I think they can contend as early as 2024 with Kansas City. And the Bills wanted Diggs out of the building so badly that they are eating and taking on about $31 million in dead money just to trade Diggs away. And now, this is where the conversation becomes very interesting pertaining to Aiyuk and San Francisco. Buffalo's number one wide receiver is Khalil Shakir. Their best pick is number 28 overall. So what is Buffalo doing? Well, the Bills have really cleaned house defensively, offensively, letting go of a handful of players because Josh Allen's contract extension is now starting to hit the books. And now could Buffalo, with that light receiving core, trade away the 28th overall pick in exchange for Brandon Aiyuk? Of course, as part of this conversation, you have to pose this question and think about this. What would the value be for Brandon Aiyuk knowing that all the Bills got in exchange for Diggs is a second-round pick and they are eating $31 million. You look at the trade details here, and I'm here to tell you that Brandon Aiyuk is worth more than Stefon Diggs. Some of you might be saying, well, Chase, hold on. Diggs is the better wide receiver than Aiyuk. No, he's not. Not right now. He might be more accomplished than Brandon Aiyuk, but he's not the better wide receiver right now. Diggs is 30 years old, and there's been slight decline in his game. We'll talk more about that coming up. Aiyuk is 26 years old, second-team All-Pro this past year. He's emerging. He's ascending. So you have Diggs as a stock, which is starting to go downhill in that downward trajectory. You have Aiyuk as a stock that's really trickling upward. Plenty more to get to here on the show. But make sure you go on down and hit that subscribe button because whenever there's big news with the San Francisco 49ers, any developments, big news across the NFL, we talk about it right here on the show. As you can see with these numbers here to my right, we are closing in on 132,000 subscribers. You don't want to miss our content, so make sure you hit that sub button right now. You also don't want to miss out on this deal thanks to our friends at Game Time, today's sponsor. If you're looking for the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed, Game Time is the only app that you should be using if you're looking for tickets to go to a sporting event, a comedy show, a concert, or if you like theater, you can find theatrical events on the Game Time app as well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time and download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code ChatSports, and you get $20 off. That is the deal that I was talking about. You get the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed, and Game Time is the app, the go-to spot for last-minute tickets. You can even get tickets to an event right up to the moment it starts, or even an hour after it begins if you're very busy, if you're running late. And there's no other app that will allow you to see the vantage point from your seats, give you the price point, but also those prices go down as you get closer to the event. If you want to go to a San Francisco Giants game, you want to go to a Golden State Warriors game, when the Niners season comes around, you want to go to a Niners game, you can do it all with Game Time. $20 off using the code ChatSports. What I love about this app, it's easy to use. You can buy tickets in just 2 taps from your phone. And like I said, I want to see what I will be seeing from my seat, and of course, what I'll be paying for from that seat. You can see that with the Game Time app. Download it today, $20 off, code ChatSports. Let's continue this conversation about a Brandon Aiyuk deal to the Buffalo Bills, potentially. Now, I don't think San Francisco will trade him. I don't want the Niners to trade him. But what if Aiyuk's asking price is way too high for the Niners' liking? They have to start having those conversations. The Bills extremely thin at that wide receiver spot. They have the 28th overall pick. And if the Niners want to trade Aiyuk away, they should demand nothing less than a first-round pick. The Bills' wide receiver depth chart right now, it ain't good. Khalil Shakir, number 1 wideout. Curtis Samuel, their number 2. Andy Isabella probably going to be their number 3. KJ Hamler is a speed threat. But that is a very thin and a wide receiving core that's not all that talented. Gabe Davis to the Jags. Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans. You are still very good at that tight end spot. You're solid at running back, but your defense isn't the same either, just like your offense isn't the same, because that Josh Allen contract is starting to hit the books. So the Bills are running into some financial problems. The 49ers will want a first-round pick for Aiyuk. I'm telling you that right now. He's a 26-year-old All-Pro. He was just taken 25th overall in 2020. And like I said, whereas Diggs is starting to decline a little bit, Aiyuk is on the uptick. Look at his numbers in his first 4 years in the National Football League. He has gotten better and better and better every single year that he's been in the league. And that's as evidenced by the receiving yards. Year 1, 12 games, 748 yards. Year 2, 826 yards after he got out of the doghouse. Year 3, more than 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. And this past year, just a fine campaign. Second team All-Pro, number 2 in yards per catch. Number 2 highest graded Pro Football Focus wide receiver in the NFL. A deep threat who has everything to his route tree. 1,300 plus yards, a career high. That coming on 75 catches, 17.9 yards per catch, and 7 touchdowns right there. Stefon Diggs, on the other hand, look, the production has been consistent. The production has been impressive. Like Aiyuk, very good route runner. Excellent footwork. And he's a shoo-in to be targeted more than 100 times and to have more than 100 catches. But for Aiyuk's numbers, he put up more production than Stefon Diggs in 2023 when Diggs had 107 catches and Aiyuk had under 80, 75 catches. Aiyuk's touchdown numbers on less opportunities, also just as good, if not better, than Stefon Diggs when you average those numbers out. And what the Bills could also do here, they could draft a wide receiver at 28 if they don't want to give up that pick in exchange for Aiyuk. And they could find a really good and really affordable prospect in that range who isn't going to be in the financial neighborhood of that new Aiyuk contract extension, which I think the starting point for it is going to be at about $25 million per year. Why is that? Because Calvin Ridley got 23, Deebo Samuel got 24, and Aiyuk is the better wide receiver as compared to those two. Also, factoring this in, Stefon Diggs is a diva. He is now asked out of Minnesota and from Buffalo. He had a very good situation where he was playing alongside Kirk Cousins and Josh Allen. Now, he's going to C.J. Stroud in Houston, and I think that he's not even going to be the number one. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stefon Diggs, very good receiving core. You have Dalton Schultz on that team as a tight end, Joe Mixon as the running back. They've invested in the offensive line, but he's asked out of really good situations. Aiyuk, on the other hand, low maintenance, he's not a diva. And you don't think that Diggs is on the decline? Stefon Diggs's average output across his last 13 games last year, including the playoffs, 5.2 catches, 48.9 yards. He had only 4 20-yard catches over that span. My boy Hembo of ESPN, Mike Greenberg's right-hand man, saying he's not a number one anymore. I don't think he's going to be the number one on the Houston Texans. Aiyuk is younger, more productive. He's ascending, and he's a number one. Also, Aiyuk has become a very viable, very explosive deep threat, whereas Diggs isn't really that as much anymore. Would you trade Brandon Aiyuk for 28th overall? T for trade, KP for you'd keep Aiyuk and you'd pay him because that's what him and his camp are going to ask for. Sound off with what you think down below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.